Thor is the first god to represent the divine side in the opening battle of Record of Ragnarok. In original Norse mythology, Ragnarok is the final battle between the gods and their giant enemies, ultimately leading to the destruction of both sides. In the manga, Thor is portrayed with long red hair, blazing eyes, and wielding the massive hammer Mjölnir, true to mythological descriptions. Mjölnir is Thor's most powerful weapon, forged by two dwarves, capable of crushing anything and returning to its wielder's hand. The hammer's short handle is also faithfully retained from legend, a result of Loki's interference during its creation. In the story, Thor is said to have slain 66 giants, a detail inspired by myths such as the time he disguised himself as a bride to deceive the giant King Thrym, reclaim Mjölnir, and annihilate all his enemies. While not a direct retelling, the spirit of Thor as a god of battle and destroyer of monsters remains intact. In mythology, Mjölnir is described as red-hot and blazing, requiring Thor to wear iron gloves, Jarngriper, and a strength-enhancing belt, Megingjord, to wield it. In the manga, Thor also wears gloves, but not to handle the weapon, instead, to restrain his own strength and prevent Mjölnir from breaking before it awakens. This is a creative twist, reversing the traditional narrative. Once awakened, Thor unleashes his ultimate move, Geirrör Thor Hammer. Geirrör was the name of a giant in Norse mythology whom Thor defeated with the help of a kind giantess. While it's unclear why Thor would name his strongest attack after a former enemy, the move is portrayed as his ultimate technique, meant to be used against Jormungandr, the world's serpent. According to myth, both Thor and Jormungandr perished during Ragnarok. The manga mirrors this, with their battle ending in mutual destruction. Zeus is depicted as the battle-crazed god of Olympus. Known as the father of the cosmos, he stands as one of the most powerful figures across all mythologies. Zeus leads the 12 Olympian gods. His brothers include Poseidon, god of the sea, and Hades, god of the underworld, while his descendants include Hermes, Heracles, and many others. The familiar image of Zeus, as a muscular old man with white hair and beard, wielding a thunderbolt, is maintained in the manga, though he can instantly transform from a frail form into a hulking powerhouse. Although Zeus is infamous for his promiscuity in mythology, Record of Ragnarok takes a different approach, portraying him as a battle maniac, utterly obsessed with combat. This twisted personality adds to his terrifying presence. In the manga, Zeus defeats his own father, Chronos, with his bare fists to claim the throne of the cosmos. This detail closely follows Greek mythology, in which Zeus wages war against his Titan father to seize power. While classical myths sometimes confuse Chronos, god of time, with Cronus, father of Zeus, many modern works, including this manga, conflate the two into a single figure. As a result, Zeus's signature move is aptly named Fist That Surpasses Time. While the original myth doesn't involve time manipulation, the name is kept for its sheer dramatic impact. Interestingly, instead of wielding his iconic thunderbolt, Chronos, Zeus fights entirely with his bare hands. At the climax of his battle, he transforms into his final form, Adamas, a bulkier, more terrifying version of himself. Adamas, derived from Greek, refers to an unbreakable substance like diamond, symbolizing Zeus's invincible strength. This arc also introduces a new character, Adamas, Zeus's third brother and the 13th Olympian god, a completely original creation not found in traditional mythology. As for combat techniques, Zeus uses the combo Meteor Jab and the finishing move Divine Axe. While the origin of Meteor Jab is unclear, the Divine Axe may allude to the legend in which Athena is born from Zeus's forehead after the blacksmith god Hephaestus splits it with an axe. Given how bizarre mythology can be, the craziness of manga Zeus seems perfectly fitting. Poseidon is the god of the sea in Greek mythology. In Record of Ragnarok, he is portrayed as a war god with a handsome, stoic, and emotionless appearance, completely different from the typical image of Greek gods, who are often depicted as emotional and approachable. Despite this cold demeanor, Poseidon's power is not to be underestimated. He effortlessly overwhelms Sasaki Kojiro, the swordsman representing humanity. In original mythology, Poseidon is one of the most powerful Olympian gods, second only to Zeus. He is known as the Zeus of the sea, with the ability to control the ocean, summon storms, and cause earthquakes. His weapon is the trident, a symbol of nature's raw power. Poseidon's portrayal in Record of Ragnarok differs significantly. Instead of being an elderly, bearded figure as often seen in classical artwork, he appears as a youthful, muscular man with blonde hair, resembling a divine pretty boy. However, the most drastic change lies in his personality. In the manga, Poseidon is a ruthless god who shows no emotion, a stark contrast to his mythological counterpart, who, though hot-tempered, deeply cared for his loved ones. For example, in the Odyssey, when his son, the Cyclops Polyphemus, is blinded, Poseidon reacts with rage and sends storms to constantly hinder Odysseus' return home. Such emotional responses are characteristic of ancient Greek gods. Interestingly, in the manga, it is Zeus who retains his mythological temperament, while Poseidon is reimagined as a cold and heartless deity. This contrast not only adds depth to the narrative, but also makes Poseidon's character in the manga more unique, a silent, powerful, and merciless god. Poseidon has three named techniques: Amphitrite, Demeter, and Medusa Alopecia. Amphitrite is named after Poseidon's wife in Greek mythology. While the reason for naming a technique after his wife remains unclear, it does suggest a certain connection to the original mythos. Demeter combines the names of Dione, a mortal lover of Poseidon, and Demeter, his sister. Using both a lover's and a sister's name for a single technique is quite unusual and somewhat puzzling. Medusa Alopecia references Medusa, Poseidon's serpent-haired lover, Alpe, another of his consorts, and again Demeter, his sister. In mythology, Poseidon was notoriously promiscuous, so this bad boy image in the manga reflects that aspect of his mythological roots. Special technique, the four-layered Great Deluge. This is a technique not based on Greek mythology, but inspired by the Bible. In the book of Genesis, God sends a great flood to cleanse humanity, sparing only Noah, his family, and pairs of animals aboard the ark. The flood is described as having layers of violent waves. Although drawn from a different mythology, the technique fits Poseidon perfectly, as he rules over oceans and floods. With biblical inspiration, this move becomes even more terrifying in the story. Heracles was once a mortal before becoming a god. He originated as a human living in the city of Thebes, which gave him a unique perspective. Rather than supporting the destruction of humanity, he wished to save it. In Record of Ragnarok, Heracles drank ambrosia, the divine nectar of Zeus, to become a god and fight for the god's side. This detail is an original creation of the manga. In mythology, ambrosia is a divine food or drink that grants immortality to the gods. Heracles was also known by his birth name Alcides during his mortal life. The story also references his close friend Castor. However, in the original myths, Castor was the son of King Tyndareus of Sparta and served as Heracles' martial arts teacher, not a fellow Theban. This is a notable divergence from the mythological source. Heracles was the son of Zeus and a mortal woman, making him a demigod, half human, half divine. Being the result of Zeus's extramarital affair, Heracles was deeply resented by Hera, who continuously plotted against him. At one point, Hera drove him into a frenzy, leading him to kill his own wife and children. To atone for this crime, Heracles was tasked with completing 12 impossible labors, known as the 12 labors of Heracles. These trials were extremely dangerous, but he accomplished them all and was eventually granted godhood, joining the ranks of the Olympians. In Record of Ragnarok, Heracles is said to have completed the 12 labors and gained 12 abilities from them before ascending to godhood. These legendary feats inspired his special move called Hercule Exodus. Hercule is the French form of Heracles, as in Hercule Poirot, and Exodus refers to the biblical event in which plagues struck Egypt before the Hebrews vowed escape, mirroring the trials Heracles endured. The manga showcases 4 of these labors. Defeating the Nemean lion, a beast with impenetrable skin, Heracles killed it barehanded and used its pelt as armor. Killing the Stymphalian birds, a flock of vicious birds, he used loud noises to flush them into the air, then shot them down with poisoned arrows. Taming the Cretan bull, a wild beast belonging to the king of Crete, Heracles subdued and returned it alive. Capturing Cerberus, the 3-headed guard dog of the underworld, Heracles overpowered it without weapons and dragged it to the surface. During his battle with Jack the Ripper, Heracles used these labors as combat techniques in a tense and emotional clash with the infamous murderer. His ultimate move, Aphoris Hero, means pure hero in Greek, a fitting name for Heracles' noble, righteous, and unyielding character. Shiva is the renowned god of destruction in Hinduism. He is depicted with blue skin, 4 arms, and a third eye on his forehead, an image that closely mirrors real-life statues of Shiva, staying true to mythological traditions. Shiva is one of the 3 supreme deities in Hinduism, representing both creation and destruction. He is still widely worshipped in India today. In Record of Ragnarok, Shiva is said to have journeyed with his close friend Rudra in search of the world's strongest god. In reality, Rudra is an ancient Vedic god considered a precursor to Shiva. The 2 names were often used interchangeably. Over time, the image of Shiva evolved from Rudra, eventually becoming the most revered deity in Hinduism. In the manga, Shiva defeats Rudra and 1,116 other gods to become the supreme deity. This number, 1,116, actually reflects the many epithets attributed to Shiva in legends, such as Mahadev, great god, Bhairava, the destroyer, Nataraja, lord of dance, and Mrityunjaya, conqueror of death. In the series, Shiva faces off against Raiden Tumimon, a legendary Japanese sumo wrestler. Despite being mortal, Raiden proves to be a worthy opponent. During the battle, Shiva's 3 wives also appear to watch: the gentle Parvati, the fierce Kali, and the warrior Durga, all iconic figures in Hindu mythology. His son Ganesha, easily recognizable by his elephant head, is also present. Shiva uses several powerful techniques in this fight. Tandava, a divine dance of destruction from mythology, represented as a flurry of dance-like attacks. Krittivasa, a blazing strike named after an epithet meaning one who wears animal skins. Tandava Karma, where Shiva sets his own body aflame as part of the battle. Karma refers to the Hindu concept of cause and effect, symbolizing a deeper philosophical layer. Devaloka, his finishing move, named after the heavenly realm where gods reside. The divine aura of this technique makes it feel like a true godly finale. Buddha is the enlightened one who founded Buddhism and holds the power of reincarnation. He is the third character from India to appear in Record of Ragnarok, showcasing the author's strong interest in Indian mythology. In the manga, Buddha is portrayed with a very modern appearance, tied-up hair, sunglasses, a tank top, and flip-flops, an image that feels free-spirited and somewhat rebellious. He despises the other gods for imposing fate upon humanity. Buddha's backstory is also significantly reimagined in the series. For instance, it is said he attained enlightenment after witnessing the death of his brother named Jata. In reality, however, Jataka refers to a collection of stories about Buddha's past lives, not the name of a person. Historically, Buddha was born around 566 BCE as the son of King Suddhodana and Queen Maya. He was said to have emerged from his mother's right side and immediately took 7 steps, raising his hand to declare, "Above the heavens and below the heavens, I alone am the honored one." Though often misunderstood as a declaration of ego, this phrase emphasizes the unique value of every individual life. At age 29, Buddha left the palace, his wife, and his child to pursue a spiritual path. By 35, he attained enlightenment and became the Buddha. This title is not exclusive to Siddhartha Gautama, but can be attained by anyone who achieves enlightenment. He went on to spread his teachings, earning the reverence of even gods like Brahma and Indra. At the age of 80, he passed away and entered nirvana, a state free from suffering and the cycle of rebirth. A character like this appearing in an action manga may seem unexpected, but it's a fascinating inclusion. In the series, Buddha's first ability is Shogaku Arayashiki, the power to see the future. Shogaku means supreme enlightenment, while Arayashiki is a concept in Buddhism that refers to the deepest level of consciousness, akin to the subconscious mind. Through Arayashiki, Buddha can perceive all things and anticipate his opponent's moves. His weapon is the Rikudokan, or Staff of the 6 Realms of Rebirth. In Buddhism, these 6 realms represent the different paths a soul may traverse in the cycle of rebirth, including the human world. The weapon symbolizes Buddha's mastery over and transcendence of this cycle. In the manga, the Rikudokan can change its shape based on Buddha's emotions. Each form has a long, meaningful name that includes the name of the realm, the corresponding guardian canon, Avalokitesvara, the weapon's shape, and its Sanskrit title. Here's a simplified breakdown of each form. Form 1, Deva realm, Nyorin canon, Lokapala. Takes the shape of a halberd. The Deva realm is the heavenly realm inhabited by celestial beings. The guardian is Nyorin canon, and Lokapala refers to the 8 guardian deities in Indian mythology, believed to be the origin of the 12 devas in Buddhism. Form 2, Animal realm, Badokanan, Nirvana. Appears as a staff. This realm is home to animals. Badokanan with a horse head is the guardian. Nirvana means liberation from suffering. Form 3, Human realm, Fukinsaku Kanan, Aksaya. Takes the shape of a spear. This is the world of humans. Fukinsaku Kanan uses ropes to aid sentient beings. Akshaya means indestructible. Form 4, Asura realm, Jushumkana Himsa. Takes the form of a shield. This realm is for belligerent gods. The guardian is Juchiman Kanan, 11-faced Kanan. Ahimsa means non-violence, fitting for a defensive weapon form. Form 5, Hungry Ghost Realm Shokanan Sarakaya, appears as a dragon-headed scythe. This realm houses restless, hungry spirits. Shokanan is the most basic form of Avalokitesvara. The scythe shape resembles a harvesting tool, and Sarakaya remains unclear in meaning. One more realm remains, the Hell realm, but it has yet to be revealed in the manga, leaving readers intrigued. Other techniques of Buddha, Rinne Kuo, a powerful scythe strike. Rinne refers to reincarnation, and Kuo to infinite time. The technique likely represents transcending the cycle of rebirth and eliminating suffering. Dainenjaku to 0, the name of a new weapon. Dainenjaku means entering nirvana. Mahabali Nirvana, Buddha's ultimate finishing move using the Dainenjaku weapon. The name includes Mahabali, a legendary figure from the Indian epic Mahabharata. Nirvana, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Tengen, celestial eye or divine vision. Myokaku, supreme enlightenment. Together, these form an impressive skill that perfectly fits the divine tone of Record of Ragnarok. The 7 lucky gods are a group of deities symbolizing good fortune in Japanese and broader Asian culture. They include Bishamonten, Daikokuten, Benzaiten, Ebisu, Hote, Fukurokuju, and Jurojin. In Record of Ragnarok, this group is referred to as the Celestial Executioners. At first, their appearance seems like a 7-on-1 battle, but they eventually merge into a single being, Zerofuku, an original character created by the author. Interestingly, there are real-life legends of an 8 lucky gods, with various local variations. Thus, the idea of a fusion and the emergence of a 0th god isn't unprecedented, but its execution in the manga is both fresh and inventive. Here's a brief introduction to some of the prominent members of the 7 lucky gods. Bishamonten, the leader in the manga, clad in armor and wielding a long weapon. Originally the Hindu god Kubera, he was later incorporated into Buddhism as one of the 4 heavenly kings, protector of the north and bringer of fortune. Benzaiten, the goddess of fortune and the arts derived from the Hindu river goddess Saraswati. In the story, she holds a biwa, traditional lute, and exudes a calm presence. Daikokuten, portrayed as a child in a Daruma outfit. In historical belief, he originated from the Hindu death god Mahakala, a form of Shiva, but in Japan, he became a deity of agriculture and wealth. Hotei, shown as a chubby man carrying a large sack. Based on a real Chinese monk, his sack is said to be filled with blessings. Some theories regard him as an incarnation of Maitreya Buddha. Ebisu, in the manga, depicted as a small boy with a fish on his head. Traditionally, he is the god of fishermen and merchants, often shown holding a sea bream and a fishing rod. Fukurokuju, depicted as a skeletal warrior in the manga. Historically, he's a long-headed Taoist sage, symbolizing wisdom, longevity, and wealth, originating from Chinese Taoism. Jirojin appears skeletal in the story, but is traditionally a gentle deity of longevity, depicted with a scroll-hanging staff and a peach. Some legends even consider him the same as Fukurokuju. Over time, there have been many versions of the seven lucky gods. The manga's creative take, from their fusion to the concept of Zerofuku, is a clever and unexpected development rooted in traditional mythology. The demon king of the sixth heaven, Hajin, is portrayed as a demon who once rampaged through the netherworld, Helheim alone, renowned for his overwhelming power and brutal nature. In Buddhism, there's a figure known as the demon king of the sixth heaven, a being who often disrupts spiritual practitioners, seen as the archetypal devil tempting humans into ruin. The name sixth heaven refers to the highest realm in the desire realm, where even gods are still bound by craving. This being is also known as Tenma or Takijizaitan. Notably, in Japanese history, Oda Nobunaga once claimed the title Demon King of the Sixth Heaven, embracing a rebellious persona and opposing Buddhism, very similar to how Hajin is portrayed in the manga. It's only natural that Buddha would confront this figure, as in Buddhist scriptures, Shakyamuni Buddha was once tormented by Mara, a manifestation of the same demon king. Mara attempted to tempt Buddha using money, lust, monsters, and warriors to shake his resolve, but failed. Ultimately, Mara submitted and became a protector of Buddhism. In the manga, Hajin uses techniques such as Demonic Realm Heavenly Sutra and Aratarata, attacks with transcendent meaning, though not directly based on any specific Buddhist tools. Arata can mean new or miraculous. Record of Ragnarok is a battle-filled series that brings together gods and heroes from various mythologies in epic confrontations. The author skillfully weaves religious lore and legendary figures into gripping storylines with great attention to detail. If you're a fan of mythology and intense showdowns, this series is a must-read. In the future, I'll continue compiling fascinating details like the 13 Valkyries and deeper concepts yet to be fully explained. Stay tuned for more battles, and let's look forward to Season 3 of the anime. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this content. See you next time.